Earthquakes in West Texas becoming so persistent that homeowners there say they can't repair their homes fast enough. They say the violent tremors are happening almost daily now.
And moving out west, more than 100 earthquakes have been recorded in West Texas just this week. Since the first and large quake that came in at a magnitude 4.9.
Texas is grappling with a new wave of earthquakes, causing distress among its residents. Recently, a severe quake shook Hermleigh, a small town, with its tremors felt as far away as Dallas. This quake is part of an unusual pattern of frequent seismic activity in the region, causing significant damage and concern. If these quakes continue, could Texas become uninhabitable? Join us to discover what lies ahead as Texas faces this seismic challenge. Major earthquake strikes West Texas. The tremors were felt far and wide, even reaching places like Dallas. The ground shifting under their feet left many people startled and uneasy. In both nearby towns and distant cities like Dallas, people felt the earth move, saw buildings sway, and heard objects clattering to the floor. Before today's big quake, there were smaller tremors leading up to it, adding to the tension. Earlier in the week, a 4.9 magnitude quake hit, followed by a 2.5 magnitude one the day before. These smaller shakes seem to be leading up to the larger event on Friday morning. What's causing these quakes? The U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, has equipment that measures seismic activity and can determine the magnitude, which tells us how much energy was released. In West Texas, where earthquakes are rare, a 5.1 magnitude is a big deal. But the real problem isn't just the scare, it's the damage these quakes are causing. In Hermleigh and nearby areas, damage reports are coming in quickly. Windows shattered, items fell, and walls cracked, especially in older buildings not built to withstand such shocks. The force of the quake had a serious impact on these structures. Local authorities responded immediately. As soon as the quake hit, they started assessing the damage to keep everyone safe. In Scurry County, officials declared a disaster, which allowed emergency teams to step in. These teams inspected buildings to make sure they were safe and helped with repairs. But the rising number of quakes is what's really catching people's attention. Texas isn't as well known for earthquakes as places like California, but in the last decade, there's been a noticeable increase in seismic activity. Each quake is a reminder that the ground beneath us is constantly shifting, and sometimes those shifts are big enough to be felt, leaving communities to deal with the aftermath together. The oil and gas industries, which are widespread in West Texas, are now under the spotlight because their fluid injection methods are frequently linked to these seismic events. Although this earthquake was quite strong, early reports thankfully show no serious injuries or widespread damage. But there's still a real concern about the safety of older buildings, which might not be built to handle such forces. For example, the Robert B. Greene building in Behar County had already been deemed structurally unsafe after an earlier quake, showing just how vulnerable some structures can be in quake-prone areas. But this wasn't the only challenge. After the quake, TexNet continued to keep a close watch on the area for aftershocks and assess the chances of more quakes, always keeping an eye on the region's geological stability. This constant monitoring is essential for keeping both the public and local officials informed about potential dangers, helping them take timely precautions to protect lives and property. On top of this, TDM, Texas Department of Emergency Management, and local emergency teams have increased their efforts to teach the public how to stay safe during an earthquake. They've sent out messages explaining safety steps like staying indoors and taking cover under sturdy furniture, which can greatly reduce the risk of injury. Emphasizing public safety, officials have urged residents to prepare emergency kits with water, non-perishable food, flashlights, batteries, and first aid supplies, and to create family emergency plans. These preparations are key to making sure families are ready to act quickly and safely if another earthquake happens. But the risk didn't stop there. Local governments and emergency management teams have also launched outreach programs to educate residents about earthquake safety. Since serious earthquakes are rare in Texas, these educational efforts are crucial to ensure that people know how to protect themselves and their homes. Through public service announcements, educational booklets, and workshops, authorities aim to improve community awareness and preparedness, making sure that everyone knows what to do if an earthquake strikes. In short, the recent quake in the Permian Basin has not only highlighted the risks tied to oil and gas extraction, but has also pushed emergency experts and local authorities to rethink their preparedness strategies. By boosting communication, education, and emergency planning, Texas is working hard to strengthen its resilience against future seismic challenges. Lately, Texas has been experiencing more frequent earthquakes, causing concern among residents and officials. In response, the state is considering stronger building codes to make sure structures can handle these unexpected shakes. This plan includes reinforcing older buildings that might be more at risk and launching public education campaigns to teach people how to stay safe during an earthquake. Even though Texas isn't known for having many earthquakes, the rarity of these events means many people might not know what to do when one happens. This focus on earthquake safety isn't new. On July 30th, 1925, the Texas Panhandle was hit by a 5.4 magnitude earthquake. It only caused minor damage, like rattling furniture and breaking dishes. But it was a reminder that earthquakes can happen anywhere in the state. Another notable quake occurred on May 6, 1932, in East Texas, near Mexia-Wortham. With a magnitude of about 5, it was felt over a large area and raised concerns about the region's stability. In 1957, the Gladewater earthquake, also with a magnitude of 5, highlighted a possible link between seismic activity and oil extraction in Texas. This event made people more aware of how practices like removing fluids from oil fields could trigger earthquakes. It also showed the need for better construction techniques to protect buildings from such forces. As Texas confronts this new seismic reality, the story continues to unfold, urging a deeper look into the intertwining of natural forces and human resilience. Texas's seismic activity linked to energy extraction. Local officials are now reviewing regulations to ensure new buildings can withstand future earthquakes. This also involves updating existing buildings to make them more resistant to seismic shocks. These efforts are sparking conversations in communities and among scholars who are eager to understand the causes of these quakes. They are particularly interested in whether activities like fracking, which involves injecting liquid into rocks to extract oil or gas, might be contributing to the increase in earthquakes. In a recent earthquake, the epicenter was about 10 miles northeast of Snyder, Texas. Scurry County, being closest to the epicenter, felt the strongest shaking, which affected nearby villages. People in Snyder, close to the epicenter, reported noticeable tremors. Local officials are now assessing the damage to homes and businesses, though the full extent is still unknown. Early reports suggest several buildings have sustained structural damage that requires urgent repairs and further safety checks. Just days before this major earthquake, a 4.9 magnitude quake struck Raton, marking the start of a series of seismic events that have brought West Texas's geological stability into question. In response, local authorities are increasing their monitoring efforts to better understand the underlying conditions and prepare for future incidents. This proactive approach is vital for protecting the region from the potentially devastating effects of earthquakes and ensuring communities can respond effectively and recover quickly if another one occurs. This particular quake stood out for many, including Abby Hagar, who is used to the rolling quakes of California. However, she found the Texas quake to be surprisingly sudden. Local officials in Scurry County quickly responded by declaring a disaster, taking steps to address any damage, and making sure the public stayed safe. They acted fast, checking buildings for safety and getting emergency supplies to where they were needed. Experts have been discussing this event a lot. Brian Stump, a seismologist from Southern Methodist University, pointed out that while a magnitude 5 earthquake isn't rare in the U.S., it's quite unusual for West Texas. This quake was part of a strange series of tremors in the area, leading to debates among scientists about what might be causing them. Some believe the quakes are natural, while others think human activities like fracking might be involved. Understanding if human actions are playing a role is important because it could help prevent future quakes. Texas has set up a detailed seismic monitoring system to keep track of these events better. The Texas Seismic Monitoring Network uses many stations across the state to gather data that helps scientists study each earthquake, including its depth and location. Moving forward, there's a strong interest in figuring out what's causing these recent quakes. Scientists are focusing on whether human activities like oil and gas extraction might be linked to the tremors. This involves looking at old data and doing new research to see if there's a connection. If they find one, it could lead to changes in how fracking is done to reduce the risk of quakes. But this isn't the only thing on their minds. Despite Texas not being known for earthquakes, its history does include some significant ones, like the Big Valentine, Texas earthquake in 1931. This shows why it's so important to keep researching and staying alert to the risks, even in places that don't usually have many quakes. A recent 5.8 magnitude earthquake shook Texas, followed shortly by a smaller 5.1 tremor. This is quite unusual for Texas, a state not known for frequent earthquakes. The occurrence of these quakes raises concerns about whether this could be the start of a new pattern, prompting people to look more closely at what these events might mean. One big worry is the state's infrastructure. Buildings, roads, and bridges in West Texas aren't built to handle strong earthquakes. These recent tremors serve as a warning for local authorities to reconsider the strength of these structures to avoid serious problems in the future. Public awareness about being ready for earthquakes is also crucial. For many Texans, experiencing an earthquake is both strange and scary. These recent events likely made people more aware of the importance of being prepared. Simple steps, like having a family emergency plan and securing heavy items in homes, could make a big difference in staying safe if more earthquakes happen. Understanding these seismic activities is key to shaping public safety rules. If things like fracking are found to contribute to these quakes, this knowledge could lead to stricter regulations to reduce risks and ensure people are better prepared. But the earthquake itself wasn't the only issue. It has also sparked broader discussions about safety and preparedness across Texas. As the community tries to make sense of these unusual events, ongoing scientific research is crucial. Figuring out whether these earthquakes are natural or linked to human activities is important. The rise in both the number and strength of these quakes in areas that don't usually experience them has led to questions about whether human activities, especially in the oil and gas industries, are playing a role. This concern has increased efforts to monitor and research what might be causing these quakes and how to reduce the risks. Fracking, in particular, has been a major focus. This method involves injecting high-pressure fluids into rocks to extract oil and gas, which can change the stress in the Earth's crust and potentially cause earthquakes. Research suggests that not just fracking, but also the disposal of wastewater from these operations could trigger seismic activities. As a result, there have been calls for better oversight and monitoring of fracking operations. But there's more at stake here than just safety. Earthquakes can cause serious damage to infrastructure, leading to costly repairs and major disruptions in the economy. This is especially concerning for local economies that rely heavily on industries like oil and gas production. Environmental concerns also come into play, especially the risk of fracking-related contamination of groundwater and other natural resources. These challenges show the need for a balanced approach that weighs both the benefits and risks of energy extraction methods. With the ground still trembling underfoot, we turn our attention to how communities and industries are adapting to this new seismic reality. Learning from the West Texas earthquake. Understanding and predicting earthquakes is no easy task. It involves a mix of natural earth movements, human activities, and varying geological conditions. Trying to pinpoint a direct cause for earthquakes is challenging. Despite these hurdles, there are significant advances being made in this field, largely due to advancements in technology and data analysis. New ways of collecting data, better modeling techniques, and more effective seismic monitoring systems are helping us understand earthquake behavior and possible triggers. After a recent earthquake in West Texas, both immediate and long-term plans were set in motion. Local authorities quickly assessed the damage and took steps to ensure the safety of important infrastructure like roads, bridges, and buildings. Emergency teams carried out detailed inspections, and efforts were made to raise public awareness about earthquake safety. These actions are meant to better prepare the community for any future earthquakes, aiming to lessen the impact. There's also a growing realization that stricter rules are needed to manage the risks linked to practices like fracking, which can trigger seismic activity. This might involve tighter controls on the pressures and volumes used in such operations, better monitoring of seismic activity, and stricter reporting requirements for operators. But this isn't the only issue at hand. The recent earthquake in West Texas has also sparked broader conversations about energy policies and sustainability. While fracking has helped reduce the U.S.'s dependence on foreign oil, it's also raised concerns about environmental safety and public health. There's increasing support for a more balanced energy policy that includes renewable sources like wind and solar power. This situation reminds us of the importance of carefully weighing the benefits and risks of different energy sources. It's essential to consider the financial, environmental, and safety aspects of how we extract and produce energy. Through informed discussions, policymakers can create strategies that support both environmental sustainability and energy security. The scientific community plays a key role in deepening our understanding of earthquakes and their causes. Ongoing research is focused on unraveling the complex relationships between human-induced seismic activity and natural geological processes. This research involves studying the geology of different regions, analyzing seismic data, and conducting experiments to simulate the effects of fracking and other industrial activities. But the challenges don't end here. It's crucial for scientists, industry leaders, and regulators to work together, sharing knowledge and resources. This collaboration could lead to innovative solutions that improve safety, reduce environmental impacts, and ensure the responsible use of natural resources. As the investigation into the West Texas earthquake continues, it's clear that urgent action is needed to reduce the risk of future seismic events. This includes enhancing seismic monitoring systems and conducting thorough research and testing. To address the challenges posed by earthquakes, it's important to conduct thorough risk assessments and share data openly. This approach helps build a community that is informed and better prepared to handle these natural disasters. The recent earthquake in West Texas was especially damaging and brought to light serious concerns about the connection between seismic activity and human activities like energy extraction. This event highlighted the urgent need for in-depth investigations, stronger laws, and proactive actions to reduce the risks tied to these methods of extraction. Balancing the benefits of energy production with the need to protect the environment and public safety is key to fostering responsible practices and advancing scientific knowledge. The community's response to the earthquake showed their strength and solidarity. Residents came together to support one another, sharing knowledge and resources. Local community centers and groups played critical roles in providing relief and ensuring that those affected received the help they needed. This collective effort demonstrated the resilience and unity of the people of West Texas. The earthquake also sparked conversations about the need to improve building codes and construction methods in areas prone to natural disasters. Although earthquakes aren't common in West Texas, this event underscored the importance of being prepared for unexpected natural events. By including seismic risk in building regulations, we can ensure that structures are designed to withstand earthquakes, which will significantly reduce potential damage and improve safety. Public awareness campaigns have also been launched to educate people about earthquake preparedness. Local governments, schools, and community centers are organizing workshops and training sessions to teach people what to do during an earthquake. These efforts emphasize the importance of having emergency plans, securing household items, and understanding basic earthquake safety. By equipping people with this knowledge, these initiatives aim to lessen the impact of future earthquakes on the community. But the earthquake also raised bigger questions about the broader impacts of energy extraction methods. It drew attention to the need for a comprehensive approach that weighs both the benefits and the risks of practices like fracking and other oil and gas extraction techniques. Exploring alternative energy sources, investing in renewable energy technologies, and promoting energy conservation are crucial steps toward a more sustainable energy future. By reducing our dependence on fossil fuels and diversifying our energy sources, we can make essential infrastructure more resilient. This resilience includes not only buildings and roads, but also utilities and communication networks. Making sure these systems can withstand earthquakes and continue to function afterward is vital for public safety and minimizing disruptions. Investing in stronger infrastructure allows communities to recover more quickly and effectively from earthquakes and other natural disasters. Scientists are still investigating what caused the West Texas earthquake. This involves studying the area's geology, analyzing seismic data, and looking into possible links between fracking and earthquakes. By better understanding these complex connections, researchers can create more accurate models and tools for predicting and managing seismic risks. These tools are crucial for guiding efforts to reduce the impact of earthquakes. Through ongoing research and cooperation, we can learn from this event to ensure environmental sustainability and protect public safety. Did the West Texas earthquake shake your thoughts on the impact of fracking and other energy extraction methods? Share your views, like, and subscribe for more.